Hi, I'm Yinka, and this is The Hurt Locker, a podcast where we open a door into men's mental health. Come and go.
I was always trying to do the right thing, trying to make the world a better place, trying to make myself a better person. And if anything, I noticed the world was getting worse, and it was my fault.
You really have got me pondering the imponderables of life itself. You're listening to The Hurt Locker, the podcast that opens a door on men's mental health. And for tonight's guest, got none other than comedian Trevor Lock. Trevor, welcome back to The Hurt Locker.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm feeling much better than I did last time.
It's interesting you said that, because I think the last time you were on, you were a little bit less forward. Would that be fair?
Well, I was about to go into hospital. I went into hospital about half an hour after the we finished talking, because I was in a lot of pain, and it turned out I had something wrong with my stomach, and got that sorted out eventually. So it's I was really struggling because I can remember I couldn't see you, and I could hear you, but anyway, it was a nightmare. But anyway, we got through it.
We did get through it, and we're still here, and it's so good to have you back.
Yeah.
How have things been?
Well, they've been everything. It's been a long time. I can't remember when it was, but it was in July. Actually, I think it was in July, wasn't it, or June maybe? So that's nearly a year. So much has happened, everything's happened, but it's it's the same but different, really.
Okay, so tell me more then. I'm being nosy here. I'm professional curiosity, I should say. Then tell me more. Then so much has happened.
Well, life just comes at you, doesn't it? It's I do a lot of shows around the world, so I've travelled around a bit. My father was seriously ill for a few months. That's sort of the biggest thing, I suppose, that's happened. That happened in December and January and February. He's on the mend now, which is good. And I'm still alive. And things are very, I suppose they're very peaceful. It feels... Everything feels very simple. I suppose that's what's happened, really. Yeah, things feel very simple now.
Can I pick up on that for a moment? It feels like you're at peace.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
More on peace now than when we first met.
Yeah, well, I was literally not at peace. I had I was in a lot of pain in my stomach. And that was that wasn't very nice. So for that day, that 24 hours, things weren't great. But the NHS sorted me out, and physically, I'm much better than I was. Yeah.
Okay, and what about mentally?
Well, mentally, I'm probably insane. I think a lot of people think I'm crazy.
What makes you say that?
Well, because people sometimes say to me, "You're crazy." Estás loco. At the moment, I'm in South America, so they often say, "You're crazy," but in Spanish. But sometimes they don't even say it; they just sort of laugh, and I get the vibe,
Yes.
But they don't scream it running away from me. They say it, with a smile on their face or, laughing. So I think I'm good crazy. I'm I don't, got nothing to complain about, really. I mean, I do complain all the time, but I don't think any more than anyone else does. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't. I think in the last episode, Tim's given me a little nudge there. You mentioned experiencing quite a bit of anxiety and panic attacks, aside from the
Yeah,
pain, and that was the
yeah,
reason you were taking a little break from comedy for a while.
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, yeah, it's funny, you see, I forget. This is, I think, yeah. So yes, definitely. I used to have a lot of panic attacks, and probably will continue to. Um, I'm trying to remember when I had the last one, which is a good sign. But I guess I've been lucky in the last few weeks. I don't know what's the difference is. Yeah, they can come, but at the moment, I can't remember one from recent times, which is good. But
Which is a good
I'm,
sign, yes, definitely.
but the door's always open. They can come whenever they come, and I guess, I'm, you know, I'm okay with that. Um,
How's the break been from away from comedy?
well, I sort of, I cycle in and out of comedy. So, I think some people have a career or a life that sort of goes on in a straight line. And mine sort of cycles. So I go, so sometimes I'm working every day, and then sometimes I stop for whatever reason because I've burned myself out because I've broken something in here or in here. Um, so I frequently take breaks, and sometimes it's because they've been imposed upon me, and sometimes it's through choice. And I'm I yeah I deal with it all right. Usually I don't miss it. I don't miss it. Um, I'm yeah, I'm lucky that I don't have many people who depend on me financially, so I can sort of get through
Yeah,
um, maybe easier than some of my colleagues can when they can't work.
yeah,
Um, I don't miss it really. I often say to people that I'm the happiest when I'm on stage, but when I'm not on stage, and sometimes I don't do anything for months. When my dad got sick, I didn't do anything for months, and and I didn't miss it. No problem. And tragically, no one else missed it either.
and then what's it like then coming back, having not been on the stage performing?
It's brilliant. It's. I mean, this is how I live my life. Really, I move around the world. I have different sort of things that I do, and I do them intensely for a few weeks, a few months. Then they stop, and then I do something else. And when I come back from a break, it's fantastic. And then it seems to go better. So it's not like with an athlete. Sometimes when a footballer comes back from injury, it takes a while for them to get back up to speed, but it doesn't seem to be like that with me.
Yeah. It seems like you've got a nice balance there for that ebb and flow.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
can
mean,
take
it's not.
you can take your foot off the valve, as it were, off the
Yeah,
pedal.
I mean, it's nothing. It's very rarely planned. I mean, I try to make plans, but they never work out. But yeah, it works out fine, but from luck rather than judgment. There's no. Yeah, I'm not. I don't have it under control.
It's
But
okay.
it's
And
yeah.
what about the comedy workshops and activities, etc.? You still doing them?
Well, no, I was, and I was doing them quite intensely a few months ago, a couple of months ago. And then I don't know. Suddenly, I sometimes I just wake up and kind of forget who I am, or certainly what I was doing. I was when my father was sick. I started when he was starting to get better. I started to do a lot of workshops, and I have this thing called reality games, which I do with people who aren't necessarily performers or comedians. And I put a lot of effort into that and was doing that for a few weeks. And then I don't know. I've it's almost like I've forgotten about it. Um, like when you mentioned it, then it's like, oh yeah, of course I do those. Yeah, and I until quite recently I was doing a joke writing workshop, but I haven't done it for a while. So
So you said briefly, are you still there in South America now?
yeah, I am. Yeah, right now. Yeah, yeah. I'm sort of
Uh,
yeah
which country, if you
visiting.
don't mind?
I'm in Peru.
Okay. Have you bumped into
Yeah.
Paddington while you're there? Sorry, that was supposed to that was a rap joke. Sorry. Uh,
So that's my nickname here. Actually, some of my friends here call me Paddington.
so how did you end up getting a job in Peru, working in Peru?
Well, I'm not working here. I'm visiting family. I've got a lot of family here and friends, and I haven't seen them for 6 years. So yeah, it's long overdue. Yeah, so I've come here to visit my family, and I may do a show here. It's not certain, but yeah, I may do a show here. I don't think I'm going to do any workshops here. I'm just going to do nothing, but I may do a show.
Nice. That's nice.
That could happen. And I've got to prepare 3 shows for the Edinburgh Fringe, so
Okay.
I can have my photograph taken here. I can organise posters, and I can write things. But yeah, it's I can't make money here. Yeah,
Okay.
but I live with my auntie, so it's all fine. Yeah.
Nice. So aside from Edinburgh Fringe, what else have we got coming up the next few months?
Well, all my plans are very vague. I'm going to be doing some shows in Tokyo. So Paul Davies left a message with me this morning, and haven't replied to him. But yes, it looks like I'm going to be doing 3 shows in Tokyo in November, which I love. So that's going to happen, and some kind of arts thing in Berlin, and then once I go out to Tokyo, I usually try and do some shows in Thailand, Vietnam, and places like that.
I mean, how does that lend itself, being born and raised, how does your comedy lend itself into such wide and varied countries?
Well,
Or are we just talking expat communities?
it's anyone who speaks English, and these days more and more people speak English, so you can call them expats. So yeah, I suppose if you imagine an expat, some of those might be in the audience, but very often it's just people who speak English well enough to be able to understand what I do, and that's probably more than the average comedian, because I'm probably easier to understand than the average comedian. Your English level can be a little bit lower, I think, to enjoy my shows. And also, my shows are, made with the audience. It's a conversation, if you like. So it's not like I've got something and here, I hope you like it. I've got
Yes.
nothing, and then we make something together. So I think that is why it can work more or less anywhere, is because there's nothing that has to work. It's a dance, it's an exchange, it's a thing that we create together, rather than me presenting something and then the people having to sort of get it.
Doesn't that feel
So
scary though as well?
well, it used to, but I'm what's much scarier now is I'm writing a show. I'm writing I'm writing mainly funny poems, and that's much scarier for me, because it's not something that I've done for a long time. What I've been doing for the last 10 years or more now, probably, is to do it spontaneously without a script, if you like. And now writing stuff, learning it, memorizing it, and then going out and doing it, that really is scary for me, because it's not what I'm familiar with. So yeah, walking out on stage, having nothing to say sounds scary. I understand that. But when you know how to do it, it's like anything. But walking out, and I've got some things that I've memorized, and I've got to hope that these guys like them. That is properly scary for me.
Good luck.
Which
with
is why
that.
I guess I hardly do it. That's probably why I don't, normally I just go out there and wing it.
Okay, so Trevor, you know the Hurt Locker and what it's about. What's in your Hurt Locker?
What's in my I think probably panic attacks are probably, part of that. I think it's a sort of, it's a triggering. I think I had some big blows to my head at certain points in my life that caused me severe concussions, and kind of ruined my life for a period of months. And now I'm really sensitive when I get a bang on the head, and I never know, actually, now when I bang my head, I never know if it's a concussion or if it's a sort of traumatic PTSD, psychological response to that. But yeah.
You've got me thinking there, because right at the beginning I thought, wow, you sound more at peace with yourself. You sound comfortable.
Well, that's because I don't have I don't have a stomach ulcer ripping through me like I did for 12.
Yeah.
But at any moment, anything can happen to me. Like, I don't know. 2 weeks ago, I was an absolute mess. So it's like when people, I now respond to the question, "How are you?" I am everything. Because what do you mean, how am I? How am I right now? Well, that can change in a second. How am I this week? Well, that can change tomorrow. What do you mean? And it's a nice question to ask somebody. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I ask people how they are all the time. But my most honest and comprehensive answer is I am everything, because I don't believe there is an emotion that I have not felt, or if I haven't, it's coming.
Some deep words there. Seriously, some deep words there.
Well,
there's nothing to say to it. I am everything.
Well, I find that very often, actually, Yinka. I find there's nothing to say, really. I mean, that doesn't stop me saying a lot of things, but we come up against it. I was talking to a friend last night, and she was telling me about God. Well, not telling me about God. She was describing her understanding of life, the universe, and everything, and I couldn't say anything in response, because there's nothing to say, really. It's anything can happen. We don't know why, and if something is happening that you like, then great. But it's luck, isn't it? Everything's luck, I think. And if you're lucky enough to be in a good place, that's great. But I've been alive. Well, there is no place. There is no place. It's all coming. It's all coming. Right now, I don't have a stomachache. I haven't been smacked in the head by an iron bar recently. But who knows? Well, I'm in South America. There could be an earthquake in a minute. So yeah. It's
I don't know. You really have got me pondering the imponderables of life itself. And I'm wondering, as you get older, does life have less meaning for you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it's much more in my face. It's much more, everything is just bigger, and meaning I mean, sometimes I have to read a thing and understand what it says, and sometimes somebody speaks to me and it's important for me to listen and concentrate on what they're trying to tell me. But meaning is impossible, I've worn meaning out. That's how I feel. For me, life is a miraculous happening, an utter mystery, and I have no idea which horse to back in terms of what's right, what's wrong, it's just happening. And if I feel good, then sometimes there's a feeling of gratitude, and that's about all you can hope for, really. There's I don't know what a thing means, or who's telling the truth, or who's being naughty. It's just it's colors, shapes, sounds, feelings, and sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't like it. And what does that mean? What does it mean? Well, it means I don't like it. That's what it means, and it means I like it. There's nothing beyond that.
How were you when your dad was taken ill?
Well, it's difficult with my dad because I wasn't sure how ill he was. I was away. I was in Indonesia, and I don't know. I was sort of, half of me was really worried, and half of me was, hold on, is this because I come from a long line of hypochondriacs, so I wasn't sure, and then he rang me up one day and he said, look, if you don't come home, you're going to have to live with yourself. And I was like, oh, okay. So I came home and he was really sick. Yeah. I was really, it's just sad to see your dad, unhappy, unwell, unhappy more than anything, because people get sick, but it's how you feel that's the important thing, and to see somebody suffering, that's really tough, and it makes me unhappy. So it wasn't it was unpleasant, but again, it's sort of, you get through it, and you not only get through it, you kind of enjoy it in a weird way. It was I was dreading it, and you're worried, and is he going to get better? So there's all that. But then, well, what do you do? Well, you just turn up and you sit down next to him, and you just do life, and it's kind of effortless in a way. And again, luckily, he started to get better. And my stepmother is an amazing woman. She was, just very cool and calm and collected. And I think that, having that, you're affected by the people around you. And I think she was a great sort of role model, and kept us all sort of, on an even keel.
What's your relationship like with him now? Because when he said to you about coming home,
did
that feel like a veiled threat?
I know my dad, but do I know my dad? But I thought, okay, if he's saying that, he wants me to come home, and I'm going to come home. You can't. It's interesting. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to do in certain situations until certain situations come, and it's just sort of, before. I was ringing my sister. Should I come home? no, you don't need to come home. No, it's fine. I'll tell you when, if it gets to that. And then as soon as I heard him say that, okay, if he wants, if now he's saying it,
It's to be listened to, yeah.
yeah. Well, or not. Someone else might have a different thing, but that's what happened here. Yeah.
Are you close?
No, not really. I haven't spoken to him for about a month now. So now he's better. And now I've come to Peru, and we're in a weird sort of time difference where, when I'm in the other side of the world, it feels like it's much easier for me to call him because the time difference it seems to be in the better way. So I'm behind him at the minute.
Okay.
So always when I'm ready to give him a call, it always feels like, oh, he's probably in bed or he's probably having his tea. He's doing well at the minute, and so and it's Easter and things are happening. So I'll probably give him a tinkle after I've spoken to you. Now that I've got my apparatus
working. Yes.
Yeah.
We have a question from Leila Johnson.
Yeah.
And you've kind of alluded to it. Uh-huh. She's asked, can you please ask Trevor what he believes to be the key to the contented life and whether he has ever managed to achieve it?
No, well, I haven't managed to achieve it. And I don't think there is a contented life. I think that's a contradiction. I think that's an oxymoron, a contented life.
Oxymoron.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think it is. I think life includes everything. That's my definition of life is like the definition of life is the universe in a way, isn't it? It's the world. It's everything. So if you live a life, then everything is going to happen to you. And if not everything, a lot of things are going to happen to you. And one of them may be contentment. And you may want to say, I have led a contented life. But within that life, there will be horrible things, difficult things, frightening
100%,
things.
100%.
So, from one definition, I've lived a contented life. But from another definition, I can show you scenes where I'm crying, where I'm terrified, where things are going wrong and things are terribly unfair, and the opposite of contented. So I don't think there's a secret. Possibly the secret is that, just to know that there's no secret. I think, I used to be somebody who did believe there was a secret to a contented life. And I really did try to do it. I was in a religious cult for 5 years. And before then and after then, I was always trying to do the right thing, trying to make the world a better place, trying to make myself a better person. And if anything, I noticed the world was getting worse, and it was my fault. No, there's nothing you can do. You are not in control of your life. You didn't choose to be born. You didn't choose the abilities that you turned out to apparently have. The thoughts that you have just come. No one, you don't sit down at the beginning of the day and write down in all the thoughts you're going to have for the next 12 hours. No, your thoughts just come to you, and well, then you've got to deal with them. And, who you are is given to you. So how can you manipulate yourself into having a better life, or manipulating the world into giving everybody else a better life, when you yourself are you're a little bit of the universe dancing on the strings of God, or whatever you want to call it? So I do think once you give up, and you can't give up, but once you stop, sometimes when you stop and you see that life is everything. It's happening with or without you. God knows what you are or how you describe yourself, but there's nothing you can do without the permission of the universe. It's all just happening by itself, and it's one massive miracle.
It
Someone
is.
was talking to me about miracles, and there's, it's meaningless to me. The idea that something was a miracle, everything is an unexplainable, incredible mystery. And it's painful and it's not fair. And sometimes, if we're lucky, it's beautiful and there's contentment. But I think trying to chase contentment, for me at least, was exhausting. And I suppose I burned myself out with that. Maybe. I don't know. But I notice now, I care less until I find myself caring, and then I'll care really hard for days, maybe, and then I don't care anymore, and something else will happen.
And
But I don't know if that's contentment. I don't think it's contentment.
philosophically, can I ask you about this religious cult?
Yeah.
Was it one that's well known, or was it one that was secluded in the woods somewhere?
No, I suppose it was secluded in the woods in a way. It's in California, in the foothills of, it's more scrub rather than woods. It's sort of scrubland, and it's not famous. It's a sort of it's a very mild cult, really. It's a sort of version of esoteric Christianity, I suppose, based on something called the Fourth Way, which was brought to the world by a chap called Gurdjieff and another chap called Uspensky about 100 years ago, I suppose. But it's very similar to all the other cults that we're unavoidably part of. The idea is, you're a real person. You can do life better than you're doing it. And this is how you do it. Well, we got that at school, didn't we?
Yes.
And we can get that pretty much anywhere. It's just the flavor and the particular recipe and the list of things to do and things not to do was different, and made you feel a little bit more, special and important. But yeah, it was the same kind of thing as people get at school, people get in their jobs, or in their churches, or in their families, or possibly even in their relationships.
I was going to say, you said you were in it for 5 years, and that
Yeah.
I was wondering whether or not, when you first entered into it, were you at a vulnerable time in your life?
Not well. I think I'm always in a vulnerable time of my life. I think I'm, to be alive in this kind of shape is to be vulnerable. Of course, I'm vulnerable. Yeah. So, but yeah, you can definitely construct a narrative that said that I joined that cult in a vulnerable moment in my life. But I would argue, would I join a cult now? I think, I'm probably, I'm in the cult of being a human. I think it's unavoidable it's unavoidable to believe things that you don't really know why you believe them. And yeah, so I just was disillusioned, I suppose, with with stuff, with life, with the news, with my tiny, narrow-minded ideas of the world, and thought, there must be something more. It can't be, what they tell on the news can't be the truth. It can't be the whole story. What that I was taught at school, that can't be it. There must be more. oh, look at all the books I still haven't read. And, you know, so it was, I just, yeah, I was dissatisfied and thought, nah, there's more to this. And then, well, then you are in a vulnerable state, aren't you?
Yeah.
And these ideas were, you know, for a while they worked. You know, that's the thing. You know, they worked. These ideas were good ideas. They worked. My life changed. I could see things I hadn't seen before. I was, you know, these ideas aren't, you know, controversial. You know, meditation works.
Yeah.
People get
It
enormous
does.
benefits from
Well,
mindfulness,
yeah.
from you know, working on yourself, from you know, seeing what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. There's all kinds of benefits to it, and you feel like, aha, here's a key to a contented life. But you know, loads of things work for a while.
For a while.
Right. There's lots
And
of
when
things
did
that
you
work
and
for a
when
while.
did you realise it wasn't working for you? When did you realise that, nah, I've had enough of this?
Well, I had this weird experience, and I realised there wasn't a Trevor. There was no such thing as Trevor, and so you know, all this effort to try to make Trevor a better person who's going to, you know, have a beautiful soul and survive death was, it didn't make sense because it was clear there was no Trevor, and so it doesn't make any sense then, does it? Who's making the efforts? Who is it that's meditating? And that was a big shock. And then almost like the next week, I found out that our beloved teacher was hiding things from us, and so yeah, you know, then it was the sort of usual cult narrative of, oh God, no, really? What? Oh, he's done that, has he? Oh Christ! So
Okay.
I'm in one of those organisations. I'm like, oh God. So then, yeah. So then you then you know, then suddenly there is a Trevor, and he's really embarrassed and ashamed that he's in this typical cult with a, you know, someone who's been doing things and hiding them from us. And
Did you feel let down?
no, no, not
Did you
what
feel
did I
angry?
feel? Oh yeah, I mean, I felt a lot of pain, physical pain. It was a torture because I loved the cult, I loved the life, and I loved the people, and so you know, I just had this weird experience where, hold on, there's no Trevor, and then immediately find out that a load of there's this weird sort of secret, you know, typical sort of, you know, we've all read about it, you
Yes.
know, naughty stuff happening that the teacher's doing. And it was just sort of, I suppose I suppose I felt let down. I don't know. It was just like, oh no, this was so, oh, you know, it was a
Yeah.
beautiful thing,
Yeah.
and no, it wasn't a beautiful thing. It wasn't a beautiful thing, and yet, yes, it was. It was a beautiful thing, and also it wasn't a beautiful thing. Almost exactly the same as life. And but at that point, I believed that, no, you know, you can get more up than down if you try really hard. You can get more warm than cold. You can get more right than wrong. And you know, I was really convinced that that, you know, that was the way. And so it was a big, you know, completely visceral disillusion. Wow, I've been completely lied to, and so yeah, for a few days it was agony in my body. Just this just to realize, it's all a load of nonsense.
Feels like a betrayal.
Yeah. But, I have no regrets at all, because I learned that was a good lesson to learn, I guess. It was great. And it couldn't have happened any other way. That's the way it happened. That's the way it was. And I didn't lose anything, apart from a lot of money and a lot of time. But what is time and money? There's no. Life is everything. It's an illusion that you could have done something different. So
It is
could
an
have,
illusion. I agree.
so I could have thought, well, you've taken 5 years from me, you've lied to me, but I don't see. I didn't then, and I don't now. I don't see. It's You get what you're given, and that's that. That is that. And if you're lucky enough to be to like it, well, good for you. But very often you won't like it, and there is no one to complain to. If you're in a job or a housing association or a cult, and something goes wrong, there are people to complain to. You can, go to the authorities, go to the police. There are people to complain to. But in life, it stops there. There's no one to complain to in life. Life is just life. That's that. And yeah.
So I take it then, life is just that. That the thought of death, does that not scare you then?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's. I suppose that's what panic attacks are, and yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have no. Death is something that I've been taught to be frightened of, and I'm a good boy, so I'm frightened of it. But it's also kind of meaningless in a way, because I don't even think I'm really alive. So it's the body that apparently lives, and what's the difference between going to sleep at night and dying? Well, you hope you're going to wake up in the morning.
Some people
That's the
do hope.
difference.
Some people do hope that they'll wake up. Others hope that they won't wake up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I get that. Absolutely. I totally get that. Usually it's hard to go to sleep when you're like that, but ironically. But there's no choice in any of this. That's the thing. So if fear of death comes sometimes when it really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Fear of other people dying, that's the thing as well. And I think it's fear, really. I think it's fear. I've seen people die, and I really didn't want them to die. But nothing is ever what you think it's going to be. Nothing is ever what you think it's going to be. But I think fear is the thing.
Go
We're
on. What were you going
frightened
to
of
say?
we're frightened of the idea of death. I guess we have an idea of death. We have an idea that death is bad.
Yeah.
And that's why we fear it. Yeah, we don't know until I die. And what is the difference between, for hours of the day I'm just not here. For hours at night I'm not here. I really try to avoid physical pain as much as I can. I try to avoid emotional pain as much as I can. Pain is the thing that we try to avoid, and we're fearful of pain. I think it's fear. That's what we're frightened of. We're frightened of feeling terrified. Yeah. all there is this, by the way. There's only ever this. When we die, it'll be a little bit like this. It'll be this.
Yeah.
It's never not been this. That's the weird thing. For years, I was waiting for it not to be this. I was waiting. Life was about to start. Things were going to happen, but nothing ever happens. It's always just this, and this is. It's kind of happening, isn't it? It's kind of happening, but you can't really touch it. You can't really. It's we're looking around, and definitely there's a world, and there's light, and there's this thing that's seeing it. But it's very fragile, and it's gone, and it's so light. So what happens often, I think, is just we go into stories because it's too simple. It's too simple and mysterious, and so we like to go into stories about what this is and what it's going to become, or what it could become, if we do things wrong, and what it could become if we do things right. But it's always just this. It's just so simple. It's just too simple. And so we make up lovely stories about it, and drag our past along with us in our minds. But there's just this, and that's never enough. And that is true. That is true. This is never enough. It was never enough for me. It was never enough. There must be something more. This must mean something. This has to mean something. It has to mean something for me. It has to mean something for the whole world. And then. If I look hard enough, if I think about it long enough, if I do the right things, I can make this better, because this isn't good enough. And I think that's the case for most people. This is not good enough. And unfortunately, it's all there is.
You've been listening to The Hurt Locker. Trevor Lock, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The Hurt Locker is a safe space for our guests to openly share their mental health experiences. If you have been affected by any of the content in this recording, then please reach out for support. If it is an emergency, dial 999. If you would like to talk to somebody today, then please call the Samaritans on 116 123. Stay safe. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Hurt Locker. Please give us a rating or share with another listener. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Hurt Locker Pod.